Welcome everybody. We are a little bit early tonight, but I promise you, you know, it's gonna be good. We got my man Ronnie Ebanks. He's backstage right now, and he's about to share an amazing experience. I can't even wait to talk to him and find out a lot about Ronnie. I resisted asking Ronnie all these questions that I had. I spoke to Ronnie about 2 minutes ago, and let me tell you, just resisted because there's so much questions that I have for Ronnie, and I'm pretty sure some of you might have some questions yourself. Um, you know, this guy has an amazing story to tell, and he keeps going. Somebody told me his age, and I said no way. There's no way Ronnie is that age, and they say he's a grandfather too. I can't even believe that. But you know what? Uh, I'm gonna let him talk to you guys about his experience and let him share the path that he took to where he is right now. Uh, you know, I look at his portfolio in terms of how he got going and to reach this stage right now. And I'll tell you something. If you guys want to talk to him, I'm pretty sure you can reach out to him, and because he's a life coach as well and a mentor, and stuff like that, and I'm always curious and I'm always excited to talk to people like this because these are the people who I surround myself with, you know what I mean? And Ronnie, uh, without any further, let me introduce Ronnie and add him in. Ronnie, welcome, man.
Hello, Derek. Good to be with you today, man.
Hey, look, man, it's a pleasure having you on right now because I got so much questions for you. I want you to, I don't even want to talk to the people and tell them things that I've seen that you've done, but I want you to introduce yourself and let the people know who Ronnie Ebanks is, man.
Man, I'm just a guy down the road living on the beach, having a great life. But the story comes from a kid born in the Caribbean that my mother remarried, and her husband was from the U.S. and brought us when I was 6 years old. And I ended up in Louisiana about 12 and found horses and found a dream to be a jockey. And sure enough, at 13, rode my first race and won my first race. And at 15, left home, become professional. Was leading rider my first year at Delta Downs with the Bug. And I ended up riding 7.5 years professionally, winning almost 1,000 races total. And retired at 23 to become an agent. I was 5'9", trying to stay 110 pounds, and it wasn't working. So I retired, became an agent managing jockeys. And I took a rider by the name of Shane Sellers, who had a fantastic 13-year career, record-breaking career we had. And I've been in horse racing as an agent like 28 or 9 years, and I retired at 3-4 years ago. I stepped away from horse racing fully to follow my entrepreneurial spirit with a few different businesses.
That's amazing, man. And I'll tell you something. Like I said earlier, you look a little bit too young to retire from horse racing because I've been around the track and I see the guys who are around the track still. They told me they're never going to retire. So for you to step away from horse racing, I want you to tell me why you step away from horse racing. But before you do that, uh, horse racing, was it always in your blood? Like, did you know you were going to be a jockey?
No, not at all. It was a complete surprise. The funny story is, as I tell in my book, my brother, who I loved and adored, my oldest brother, there were three of us, and he was the oldest. I had one in the middle. And I wanted to be like him, and he didn't want me hanging around him too much. I was kind of young and aggravating him. But he loved horses, so I said, I love horses. His color was green. My color was green. He loved the Astros. I loved the Astros. Whatever he loved, I loved. A copycatter. And he wanted to be a jockey. He loved horses. So when we moved to Louisiana, when we settled at 12, my father said a guy down the road had some racehorses. Told him he'd take him down the road, maybe meet that guy one day. He could teach him to be a jockey. I saw a kid in the front yard the next day, and I shot down there. And that's where the story started. The kid had to go help his dad clean the stalls. I went with the kid. I worked my butt off. The next day, the kid said, I do this every afternoon. I said, I'll come and help you. The second day, the father said, I'll give you $40 a week if you want to come do this every day. You're really a good worker. I'm like, $40 a week? I'm on. And that's where it all started. I didn't know what a horse was. I'd never been on a horse, never, had no desire around a horse, only because of my brother that I had the interest just to beat him to it, to up him somehow or get his attention. And I found a whole life and a dream that I never thought imaginable.
But you know what? For $40 a week, you said? Is that what you
That
said?
was in 1976.
1976. Wow. And 40
77.
bucks.
Yeah. 40
Hey
bucks
man,
for a
like
poor kid from Louisiana. We had 5 boys. My dad worked on the river. He didn't have the money. So we only got what we absolutely needed. There wasn't no extras. None. And I was fortunate enough, $40 a week would be like giving me 4,000 a week now, you know. It was unreal. I was, yeah. I mean, we got $1 allowance or 50 cents allowance or something, you know, to buy whatever. Yeah, not even. I don't think we had an allowance at that time. So $40 was enough. But with that came this love for these horses. As I was around, I fell in love immediately. It was like taking care of them. They depended on me. I had someone that was, you know, and the trainer, God rest his soul, Len Gutierrez, he depended on me. He really appreciated me. The younger son didn't really want to work that much. At the time, he was younger and didn't like the horses so much. And I just took an interest to it, and I loved the money. And then from the money, I fell in love with the horses. And then he said to me one day, would you want to be a jockey? I can teach you to be a jockey. I'm like, what? You know, I never imagined it. And sure enough, yeah. So that being said, never expecting or knowing, in the Cayman Islands, we didn't even have a horse. There wasn't no horses. You know, there was one donkey tied up somewhere. There was, you know, a lot of cows and goats. But the island, we didn't have no horses. So here, this kid is in Louisiana and it gets introduced to it. It was just a whole new world. So I can't believe it. I end up a natural talent on the horse. I was really good. I was really, because I started so quick, I become successful so quick. Only by results, I know I was good. I'm just saying about myself. I started winning everything. And I had no fear, and I had balance, and I had timing. And just like everything came to me so naturally, like a kid that'd been waiting his whole life to do it in a sense.
I think you had to be determined. That's what it sounds like to me.
Well, that's the kind of guy I've always been. When I made up my mind about something, I went at it. You know, I never scared away from work. And I was taught that early on, a strong discipline of work, a work ethic. But I was just I was passionate. When you have passion, it'll pull you to success. It'll create the success. And I had the passion, and I had the connection and the love for the horses, and the gifts. I had natural gifts that came out when they put me on a horse. And within 2 months, I was learning how to ride a horse and gallop a horse on my own. You know, and then I started my job exercising horses. And then 4 months later, I'm riding a race. And, you know, and 4 months later, like, how does that happen that fast? But it proceeded, it went that fast and learned that fast. And it came to me that easy.
I want to ask you about that because, I mean, at 15 years old, you start to ride races, you know, you start race ride, and then money started coming. What does that feel like? And what did you do? Who told you how to manage your money, or did you even manage your money?
My mom, she made sure when I come home, anything I brought home, she took and put it in the bank account, in the savings. She didn't let me handle it because we were poor. So like walking around with $3-4 was huge, you know, $5 in my pocket. So I'd hold off 10 or 15 that she didn't know about. But $300-400 every Sunday, she was taking and putting in my bank account and saving it, making me my savings account, you know. And at 15 years old, I bought a piece of property for like $30,000 or something. She, you know, advised me like, let's put it in some real estate. So the money management, I was around grown-ups and adults and on the bush tracks betting amongst themselves. And I was an action guy. And so in between races, I got bored and watching these people bet. And I thought I knew better than what they were doing. I knew who was going to win most of the time, I thought. And usually I did. And next thing you know, I started betting at 13, 14 years old with adults, $5-10 a race, you know, and I was winning and winning. My mom had no idea how much I was betting, that I was gambling, or how much I was betting. And yeah, so I had a knack early on for gambling and betting and winning. And I was really pretty disciplined. I was really disciplined. I managed my money, and I stuck it away. I wasn't frivolous with it.
That's pretty cool, man. I mean, even to manage it, to be a little bit disciplined on it, you know, that's really tough because, you know, sometimes gambling gets in you, and you get carried away. So, I mean, at an early age,
young age, it's really, I'm impressed with myself, the way I handled it, my discipline that I had to not go overboard gambling, and then not to blow it, and you have to manage it. And another funny story, I loved betting, and when I quit riding, I was in a race at the grandstand every day watching my rider ride. So I was 7 days a week, 6 days a week at the track. Next thing you know, I'm betting at the track, and I love to gamble. And a older agent, legendary guy, Paul Blair, saw me one day coming out of the window at the last race, and he grabbed me. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I just hit the trifecta." "Oh," he said, "You did? That's great." He said, "I'm gonna tell you something right now. That jock you got's going to make a lot of money, you and him. Y'all got a bright future. If you keep betting in that window, you're going to bet everything you make with him in that window. If you listen to me and save your money, you're going to have a lot of money. You're going to do well, kid. Save your money. Stay out of that window. Bet from the right pocket to the left pocket." I said, "Yes, sir," because I really respected him. He was like the legend around. I listened to him, and the best advice I ever got. And I quit betting horses that day. I go to the track now. Even now, I go to the track. I'll bet $20. I'll go play poker and bet 10,000. I'm a good poker player, but at the horses, I had a habit of I quit and realized how tough it is. You can't beat the races; you can beat a race, right? So I was fortunate that I was smart and listened. I was disciplined enough to listen and respect my elder that advised me and mentored me to quit gambling on horses. And that's the best thing I ever did, because I ended up started putting it in real estate and buying a house every 3-4 months at that time.
I imagine that's some pretty good advice. But I'll tell you something. Do you ever speak with young jocks and young people around? What do you tell them?
I like to when they come to me. I'm not around that much anymore, but every now and then I'll get one that asks me or seek me out. And the one thing I'll say to them is, it's all about believing in yourself, because the game will beat you down. The toughness of the business, the competitiveness, is so hard mentally with the reducing of weight. It's such an emotional challenge that you've got to be your best cheerleader is the best advice I could give any of them. Be confident in yourself, believe in yourself. If you don't, get out of it now, because you're going to lose 85% of the time. So if you can't handle losing now and stay confident in yourself, you're not going to make it to achieve what you want to achieve. That's number one. And number two is nothing replaces hard work. Show up earlier, stay later. That gets recognized. You're going to get opportunity from that. I got a lot of opportunity because I was the hardest worker. I didn't give up. I didn't quit. I kept going, seeing the guy that wouldn't ride me. 3 months later, he put me on a stake winner, the champion trainer. So that's the other thing. And the third thing is success is going to come. Success is going to go. The game's going to be up. It's going to be down. You better have something for the rainy day, like my mom used to tell me. Don't think it's always going to be that way. And the jockey's career is short, for the most part. So that's kind of the basics before I get into any other deeper type of advice or coaching that they might be looking for, but that would be the first kind of my initial.
I want to ask you about how you got into be a jockey agent. How'd that started?
I was coming at the end of my career, really struggling with weight. And I saw this young rider that was from my hometown that I grew up in Louisiana. And he came in to ride from out of town and looked so good. And the season was ending where he was at in St. Louis, and he was thinking of coming to Chicago for the fall. Well, he ended up coming in the fall. And he was only there for like 2 months just for the last part of the season. And I watched him and I thought, wow, this kid. And a leading rider, Juvenal Diaz at the time, said to me about 2 months before, he says, "You know what?" He was mad at his agent. He was leading rider and he wanted to fire his agent. He said, "You know what? I could fire my agent. I'd hire you. You'd make the best agent." It ain't that much about him. You could be the best agent. I'm like, "Really?" He says, "Yeah, you'll be a great agent. That's what you should do." And I never thought about it till he said that. Like, that's my out. That's what I can do. Really? I'm like, so this kid come along a couple months later, and I said to him, like, "You should come back and stay here instead of going back to the little track next year. Come here." I said, "I'll quit riding and take your book. I know all these people." He says, "Really?" Shane Sellers. We agreed. The next spring we came back, and we had a career only could be written about. Every year was a record-breaking year. The first year we did $1.1 million in earnings. The last year I had him, we did $13.8 million. So every year we graduated. He was third in the nation that year, and then he got hurt, and then we separated. But we had an unbelievable career, unbelievable run.
Hey, man, and that, I guess, you managing his books, I guess that kind of attracted some other jocks as well.
Yes, absolutely. But I was primarily working for him, but I had a second rider at times. But then he didn't want me having a second rider, and I was working for 25%. And Wayne Catalana said to him, "You don't want him to work?" "No, I don't want him. I want him to only have my book." He said, "Well, give him 30%. He says, "He'll work just for you." And he looked at me. I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So he said he gave me a raise to 30% if I would work just for him. So the majority of the career, I had just him. After him, I had a lot of writers come along. I had Johnny Velasco had a short stint. I had Joel Rosario, Patrick Valenzuela. I had Joe Talamo. I had Mark Guidry. I had, Tyler Bays, Michael Bays. Yeah.
Those are a lot of good
I'm
jocks.
doing 160 million in purses with writers.
That's a lot of good jocks there,
Yeah,
Ronnie.
I had a really big run. I was made for it. I was made to be an agent. I was the mouth of the South. I sold when I was a jock, my best asset was my mouth, getting myself on horses. I didn't have the best agents most of the time, but I was really, I supported my agents. I'd say I had some good agents, but I really supported my agents with networking people and schmoozing and knowing how to get myself on horses. So I became a really nice.
Can I ask you, does that always help the jocks as well? Like just being able to speak, just being able to sell yourself?
Listen, relationships is what it's all about. The stronger your relationships, the stronger your business. If you're really good, you'll do well. But if you're really good and really personable, you'll do much better. Just like in life. It's the same thing. People want to help people they like. A lot of people wrote me because they liked me. I was too tall. They thought I was too big. They had better riders. They thought they could ride, but they liked me and gave me more of a chance because of it. The relationship.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And I want to ask you, because you touched on something. You said that Shane was at a small track or something. And I want to ask you, how important are those small tracks to the industry? You call it industry, horse racing.
That's a tough question. They're getting inked out more and more. It's where so many riders got their starts. Big time riders end up, from the Zormo, all the Cajun riders came out of the bushes, then this Delta Downs and the Evangeline Downs, and then up to the bigger tracks, we call it. But it's important. But the bottom on the riders is the most important, is being somewhere, a farm, a small track, putting your time in, doing the work, starting from the bottom, learning the horsemanship, learning, the trade from old timers, from quality people. But you still need the small tracks because there's a certain level of horses that can't run on the other level. And it kind of gives people in these smaller markets an opportunity to be involved. The riders, the trainers, the owners that love this game. So, and you see some really good horses come out of them small tracks also that end up winning Breeders' Cups. So the little guys that can't be forgotten. They're important too.
I agree. I was trying to touch on the fact that the jocks, give them a chance to develop, to learn how to build those relationships with smaller owners and trainers and stuff like that until they can branch out. Is that what helped you as a agent?
Yeah, for sure. Because I went to so many different places. I left home at 15, went to Delta Downs, went to Evangeline Downs, went to Shreveport, went to the fairgrounds, went to Arizona, went into Chicago. I just kept going. I went to Detroit. So and that's where I grew up. When I was 6 years old, we landed in Oklahoma. We moved from Oklahoma, Alabama, Texas, Louisiana. We moved every 10 or 12 months. So I had that confidence and that no fear, and that didn't stop me. I had a new school every 8-10 months anyway. So I knew shy wasn't going to get it. So that built a resilience in me, and a confidence in me that really helped. But it ain't necessarily small tracks. It's about being prepared, getting the bottom under you before you jump in this saddle and start going to ride and go off and do it. I had 2 years of races under me when I started riding at 15 and a half. I got my license. I'd already been riding for 2 years. So I was so polished. I had so much. I'd been in a groom for 6 months and then raced for 2 years. So by the time I got the bug, I was so far ahead of the other bug boys, and I was polished already, kind of, So that was a big part of it. So it's about getting in the right hands and taking your time and learning the right way to do things, and then giving yourself some good bottom and experience before you step up and get an opportunity and not ready. You want to be ready. That's how you get lucky. Luck is where preparation meets opportunity. If you get lucky and you're not prepared and you fail, it's hard to get that chance again. You know,
What, what,
sometimes you only
what,
get the one chance.
what was your favorite track to ride?
Sportsman's Park, Chicago. There was a bull ring. The money was huge because it was so cold and a bull ring. And I made so much money when I first went in there, coming from where I'd come from, Detroit and Delta Downs, Evangeline Downs, or Turf Paradise. I went to Chicago. The purses were 4 times as big as I'd ever seen it. So he didn't have to win that many. And I loved that bull ring. And not a lot of riders were good on it. So, and I was a good bull ring rider because I grew up on them. So I excelled early on, and actually the owners of the track, the Bidwells, the son Charlie C3, I got to be buddies with. So I was just like, yeah, they treated us so well. I just loved the management, and I loved the track, and I loved the money. They gave away a lot of money.
Oh, wow. Um, I know you moved on from being a jockey and being a jockey agent, and you started doing some other stuff. I really like the fact that you're a life coach, and you want to touch and tell me a little bit about what's involved in being a life coach.
That come about. I did a training 10 years ago. A buddy, a really successful buddy of mine, had just done and recommended that you got to do this. It changed my life. And I was surprised that he took on any kind of personal development. I didn't even know what that was. But he enrolled me. I went and tried it. I thought it was a weekend or two. It ended up 100-day course over the span of 100 days. It was 5 weekends there, and then but a whole 100-day course. And that changed my life. It empowered me. It gave me a path of how to become better as a person in relationships and for business. And I loved it so much. I went back and staffed the next course, which was 100 days, as a assistant coach. And I was really impressed and inspired by the other students who really took to me, and I was able to really support and help and move. And I knew I wanted to be doing some of that type of work at some point because I loved helping people. I was helped by so many, and I love being able to give back and support others to get a faster, maybe a shorter cut to success than I had, possibly by some things I learned. And people were really receptive. So that really motivated me to want to do that. And after going back quite a few times and supporting that group of coaching, I decided to, the life coach. I was going to motivational speak and life coach, both. And I started life coaching. And that is just principles that I learned that created a really solid, successful, fulfilling life that I was living. I had come to the best place in my life I'd ever been, really controlling my thoughts, controlling my emotions, no fear, understanding of everything is up to me. If it's up to be, it ain't no one else. Excuses don't win in my life. I don't try. I either do it or I don't. So all these principles, and then personal care is one of the best that anyone can do, is to focus on self-care. Self-care is self-love, and self-love is a stepping stone to success in any area of your life. When you love yourself, you can love others. When you love yourself, you can be productive in business. You're more confident. You come off as that person. You show up, in a bigger, better way. So, and also you got more peace, more tranquility, your mind, you're able to create more when you're, I say, self-developed, when you work on yourself, you do the work on yourself first. And then that for me, I did the work on myself. And then I wanted to share that work that I learned, learning meditation, learning, exercise, good, healthy eating, mental exercise, training of all different sorts. So I seen how beneficial it was for me. And then people around me I was helping, and they were listening and taking on my habits, and it was working. So I'm like, I ought to do this so I started to do it with the plans also to be a motivational speaker, because I love motivating people. I love helping, inspiring people if I can. And that was going to be my main path about 2.5 years ago. And then this company that I helped founded, SaveZorb, that we'll talk about, fell into my lap, that I was able to get all the partners out, take control of it, own it myself, and lead it myself. So I had to pivot from that passion, that purpose. My true purpose, I know, is helping others reach their potential and helping others see a better possibility for themselves. And I know I have a gift and a knack at that because I love people and I love helping people. So that being said, I pivoted, took this company over now, and my goal is to scale this company, hopefully get it scaled, sell it, partner with it, and focus back on my true purpose and another passion of helping and coaching and speaking to people.
I talk a little bit about savesorb.com, right?
Yeah,
And
saves or
and that's a you said it's connected to Canada, and I'm being a horse racing horse racing guy. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of connections over here too as well. But talk a little bit about that company that you've got under your wings right now.
this was a surprise thing, another thing that fell in my lap. A friend of mine I talked to, I told him I'd love to do the infomercials, that Shamu guy. I said, I could do that. I love promoting. He says, I know somebody with that business. Let me see. A couple months later, out of the blue, he came to me and said, hey, I found my brother's neighbor has this product that I told him to get you, and y'all shoot an infomercial, let you be the pitch man, that y'all will kill it. You'll blow this product. I said, what is it? He said, I'm not even sure. They brought me over to show me. I said, yes, I'll have a meeting. I wanted to see it. So the guy brought me over, and he had this table set up, and he had this dirt-looking stuff here, and he had yellow paint, he had brake fluid, he had some diesel, he had some old oil, and he poured a little bit of all of them on this table, and he took this mulch-looking dirt stuff and put on top of it. And while he's talking to me for about a minute and a half or 2 minutes, he's kind of patting it and moving it around. And pretty soon he picked it all up in his hand, and the yellow paint was gone, the oil, the brake fluid, all of it was gone. I'm like, whoa, where'd that yellow paint go? He said, it's gone. It's inside the fibers. It's eating it. I'm like, what? Then he poured water, and he poured transmission fluid on top of it, that red come to the top of it. He took a handful of the stuff, he put it on top of his plant material, put it on top of it, and he put it as a cheesecloth, and he turned the jar over, and the water filtered through the peat moss and come out clean on the other side, and he drank the water. I'm like, that had oil in it. He said, not anymore. He said, this plant material soaked it all up. That's what it does. It encapsulates it, it eats it. I'm like, I called my friend. I said, I don't want to be the pitch man. I want to own this thing. I want a piece of it, or I want to own it somehow. He's like, that's what I thought. So we met the guys. We talked with them. They didn't have no money. They found this product, and they were trying to get it started somehow. So me and my partner put up the money, launched the company, left them in for a piece, and he hired a team. And I was in horse racing, so I just invested, and they started it, and they actually took it off. It's such a good product. I don't know how they messed it up, but it went out the rocket the first 2-3 years, and then all of a sudden it started going the other way, and I couldn't figure it out. And I'm like checking in and trying to figure it, and they're giving me all these stories and excuses, and they're going through all this money, and they really didn't know what they were doing. They've never been in that business. The team that he hired, the CEO, he was a smart guy, but he wasn't a product salesman. He wasn't an industrial salesman. He didn't know that industry, and somehow they messed up running this business. And so finally it was struggling. And I'm like, either I want out or I want it all. And I was able to negotiate and get it all. And this product my vision is that the whole world finds out about it, because it floats on water. It's hydrophobic. So it not only absorbs oil, it floats on water, will absorb the oil off the water. But it also the best absorbent on land for anything spilled from an engine in a warehouse, in a factory, from an engine in a car, in a garage. They use kitty litter clay. Is a common practice that 60-70% of the market uses. And it's the worst thing in the world, but it's the only thing they've ever known. It takes 30 pounds of that to absorb a gallon of oil. It takes like 2.5 pounds of our product, SaveSorb. And it absorbs it green. It never comes back into the environment. It actually biodegrades the hydrocarbon molecules and eats it. But within 4 months, it's 90% eaten. It can go in landfill.
I mean,
so it's an amazing miracle.
Sounds like an amazing product. I'm
It's
pretty
a
sure.
miracle product. It's not amazing. It's a miracle. So many people that see me say that. So, wow, that's a miracle. I said, that's what I said the first time I seen it. That's why I had to get into it. That was my passion. I knew that here's my chance out of this horse racing business and into an industry, and maybe build a company that I can maybe one day be really proud of.
Now, you know what? We're going to talk a little bit more about that, because I'm really curious about this product right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I want you to tell me how important it is for guys around the track, jockeys, so forth. Because you told me that jockey career is very short, for the most part. And how important is it for those guys to get involved in other stuff? You know what I mean?
They don't know. They don't see the forest for the trees. They think in love and passion, it's all about where they're at and winning the next race and getting on the next horse. And they can't see what's going to happen 20 years from now. Well, I'll still be riding. 30 years from now, I don't know what I'll do right now. And it's not important. It's so important. If I wish I'd had someone to mentor me to plan my future earlier on and to really about money management, saving, investing, where to invest, and there to park it and leave it. They need so much help with financial education, and they're not getting it. Only 10% of them are smart enough, and 10% that are getting help by someone else, and 80% are getting left behind in a sense. And they got to learn the hard way at the losses, lending this guy, investing with this guy, or in this stuff, or, living a life and spending it, thinking it's always going to keep coming. And then they get hurt and they're out and the game's over. So it's very important.
I want to ask you this question. For a guy like you, who's been around, you experienced, you've seen it all. Is it beneficial for racetrack people to bring people like you in who can motivate and to help people around, just to, just kind of get them aware of these things? Or is it not so good?
No one has the time. No one has the care. No one. Everybody's looking out for themselves in the horse game. And nobody looking out for jockeys. Like, how can we help them and help them stop this addiction to drugs that they get on, or this addiction to blowing money and living that lifestyle? Let us help them financially so they know there's not a program. There should be a program when they come in that they should have to go through first for these things. It should be a requirement, just like the NBA, the basketball. It should be a requirement for them guys. Many of them, the sports guys that end up getting these contracts, and 8 years later, they're bankrupt. They think the millions are going to come for the rest of their life, and they got 5 to 6 years, 8 years, and then they made 100 million, and then they got nothing. Nothing. I mean, it happens so consistently, but no one's there to get them into that learning before they get it. Because once they get it, you can't tell them anything, right? Once they got money, they got smarts. They think, a big pocket don't make a smart mind. So it's early on the mentors. That's where they're really, really needed, And I thought about really focusing and doing that when I was launching my company to coach and speak. And I had a plan to do a group coaching for young people around the country in racing, and it really needs it so bad. And I still might come back and do that. I would really like to, because I know it'd be so beneficial. But also enrolling them to want to join and do that and learn that. It's like, I'm a jock, I'm okay. They don't get it. They don't know. They don't see it. They won't see it till it's too late, So it would take someone encouraging them, like, you should get that guy to mentor you. You should. And they're so, again, I was a cheap one too. I didn't want to spend another. I'm already a jockey. I don't need anybody to teach me about life. I'll learn, what I mean? So again, they won't invest in themselves. They'll invest in cars and girls and good times, but they won't invest in themselves for their future. And that's what's really needed for the new young generation, as a whole, not just racing.
How did you get your jocks to stay on track when you were handling the books?
Man, I was on them. I was at that door, been knocking on the door to get them up. I was on that phone, getting them out there to work. I was motivating them. I was a coach. That's where I learned to coach, was coaching Shane Sellers. He'll tell you I was one of the best coaches, because I was speaking to him as a brother, as a father, only what was best for him. And he had this big opportunity that he was, contradicting sometimes. Like success, people sabotage. They get to doing too good and they don't feel they deserve it, or they get lazy or slack. So my job was not only a promoter and a booker of the best mounts I could get in, but I was a coach. I was a mentor, a coach, a support, a big brother, because I wanted him to do right. So the better he did, the better I did. But the better he did, the better his family did. The better his family did, was better we all did. So it wasn't just about the paycheck, because I'd been there. I'd have been a jock. I understood, and I knew they needed more help than most agents would give them. Most agents, they want to book their mounts and get their check at the end of the week, and that's it. I was really personable and connected more with the riders I worked for. I always tried to mentor and help them as much as I could, from what I had learned and mistakes that I'd made.
How did you guys manage to get those big mounts and get those big races? Like how'd that come about? I mean, your
Well,
relationship,
we
you said,
fellas
but
were so good. We started building and building, and we broke the record at Arlington Park. We broke a record. We went 218 races in 128 days. That was almost 2 races a day for 5 months, 4 months. That was unheard of. We shattered my idol, Randy Romero's record. And we got a lot of attention. A lot of big trainers that come in then would ship in the weekends of stakes. And we started getting on some of them, and people started noticing us. And then I wanted to climb. So I said, let's get out of here. Let's go to Kentucky. He listened to me, went to Kentucky. I said, let's go to Miami for the winter now instead of New Orleans. He said, okay, let's go. We had enough business. And we started following the good racing. And from there, he was a natural talent, a very good rider. And it was our time. And I was in my zone. I was confident. I was positive. I was a hustler. I was a worker. I knew how to do it. I was learning all I could about it to do it better, and had a deep desire to be the best. And we were leading rider a lot of tracks, and we had a record-breaking 13-year career. And we're fortunate because he was such a good rider, but we got lucky. We landed on some right horses, but we persevered, and we were in the right place at the right time. But we also showed up and did the work. He worked hard. I worked hard, and we got lucky by being prepared.
Hey, that's really important, and I guess staying on track and staying focused is the key to winning. And horse, someone told me one time, all the jockeys who are really good and all that stuff, and the point really to horse racing is really winning, getting to the finishing line first.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just getting that money for the owners, the trainers, and all that stuff. And what do you say about that?
Well, you know what I come to learn more, and I used to tell my rider is, it ain't us, it ain't you, it ain't me. We're lucky we're getting on them horses, and we can't forget that. That groom that's doing all the work, that trainer that's putting in the 24/7, but it's the horse. 85% horse. I didn't realize that till later in my career. It's 85% horse. It ain't the jockey. The jockeys make the difference when it comes down to the fine line. Right? But majority of it, without a horse, you're going nowhere. It's like without a car. You're a horse and buggy, and I got a car. I'm outrun you every day. So it's about opportunity. It's about relationships. That's what I'll teach you. That's what I'll tell the youth. It's about relationships. You wanted to be successful, learn how to show up, to treat people, to respect yourself, to carry yourself, to dress, talk smart, talk politely, talk more when you talk to, and do a lot of listening, because it's about opportunity, befriending and showing people that you're a quality person, helping others, being a kind person. That gets you rewarded to get you the mounts. Even
what?
if you're talented or not, we see a lot of talented riders never got the chance they deserved. They never made it to the big time, and there's a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
But opportunity is where it's at. How do you get opportunity? Building relationships. So from the beginning, early on, people help you get to the top. You never get there by yourself. So the more people that you can get to support you and help you and be on your team, the better chance you have. How do you do that? Being the best person you can be.
Those are some wise words, man. Wise words. I gotta ask you something about this, because how I stumbled onto you was through a friend of mine, Troy Hearn Jr.
Yeah.
And just wondering, can you tell me a little bit about him, man? Because the first time I met him, he was like, I see it in his eyes, like he was hungry. He wants to get going. I can see he's so passionate about about what he wants to do. And tell me a little bit about him, man.
Focus. He's a really focused man, and I met him years ago in Miami, and he was just that. He's that character. He's that energy. He's really uplifting, positive. I seen him then learning and riding and exercising, and just a real high energy, fun person to be around. Good dude, passionate, focused, respectful. All the qualities. I seen a lot of me and him. Look, so I related to him, and we connected. And we stayed in touch over the time, and wherever he was at in the world, through social media now. And I think a lot of him, and I love seeing his passion, and I love seeing him going for what he desires and what his dream is and what his purpose is, whatever that be. if we're going for it with giving it our all, we have a real chance. And you can see the passion in him with everything he does, and you can see the commitment and the focus in him. So that really impresses me about him. And I always wanted to be a support of his, you know, and always offering kind words and advice anytime I could to him. And he's just such a beautiful, beautiful guy. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I have to say the same thing too. I know you got a book out or books. What you got out there?
Yeah, a funny thing is how this come about. I wrote a book and it's a memoir of my journey, and it's called Staying in the Race. And how that came about was the last 10 years in the Midwest before I moved to California. I just had so many people. I'm a great storyteller. And I had a lot of these great, crazy, funny stories and wild stories. And I used to tell all these stories, and people just laugh. Had crowds of people, you know, 8, 10, 12 of us. They just laugh. And people started saying to me, "You should write a book. You should write a book. You should put them these stories in a book." And I'm like, I never even thought, like, why would I write a book? I didn't for the first 5 or 6 years. And it got to me, it was up in the hundreds. And I remember saying to that guy, "You must be 110." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You must be the 110th person that said that to me." I said, "I swear, I don't know why people keep saying that." He said, "Well, listen, write one." I'm like, so the day that the president of Churchill Downs, God rest his soul, Steve Sexton, I told a story Derby week one morning about 8 or 10 trainers and guys around, and they all burst out laughing. We all went our separate ways after the story, and he was walking off. I'm like, and he hollered at me, "Ebanks, you got to write a book. Will you write a book and send me a copy?" And I'm like, holy smoke, I'm writing a book. Frig it. I don't know what, how, or what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to put all the stories in the book. That's why it came about. Otherwise, I would have never even thought about doing that. Like, why would I write a book? But my stories, my journey from poverty, I was born in the Cayman Islands. We had no plumbing, no electricity. We were poor as could be. But I didn't know it. We lived across the street from the ocean. We had 11 or 12 people lived in this 1 3-bedroom house, you know, three different families. So I grew up very, very poor. So that story coming into Louisiana with a stepfather that was really heavy-handed, you know, on the slight side of abuse, physical abuse as a kid. Because we were bad. He was tough. And at 12, found horses changed my life. This kid I got out, like, you know, I got out from under that tough growing up, you know. Yeah.
I find that's something because, you know, coming from where you came from and to where you are right now and where you're going, I just think that's amazing. And to pass that story on, that kind of inspiration, you know, pass it on so that others can know that, look, you know, you don't have to have everything in the beginning, is how you end up at the end, right? And those things are very important.
That was my message. That's my message, what I want people to get from the book when I started writing it. I wanted them to see the story of this little young kid come from the Caribbean, poor family, grew up in the States at 12 years old, a poor family of 5 boys, you know, very little of means. But I had a passion. I fell in love and found the passion. When I found the passion, I created every opportunity was possible. And I end up living a dream life because I said so, because I decided to, because I went after my dream relentlessly with no fear, with no give up, with consistency, persistency, with hungry and respectful, just doing everything right. You got to make right decisions. You got to treat people right. You got to be respectful. You got to get up and work hard and go after your dream and knock on doors and keep knocking on doors. And if you keep doing that, no matter what industry you're in or where you're at, someone's going to help you. People want to help people. People want to lift people up, but they want to help people that are worthy of help, people that are kind, that are generous, that are respectful. And that's what I was. So I got a lot of help from a lot of people. That's why, hence, I want to help and give back anywhere I can.
Nice.
So that's what the book is about. That's what I really want the book to say to anybody that reads it. Fun, entertaining, wow, crazy stories. But that guy went after it and created a big life. He wasn't meant to have that life. My brothers all lived very simple lives. I have 4 brothers. I lived an extraordinary life, and I still do, by going after life, taking life and creating the life I saw and desired for myself.
The name of the book, Stay in the Race, right? That's
Stay in the Race. You can get it on Amazon. If you go to Amazon, you put in my name, Ronnie Ebanks, the book and the song comes up, actually.
Tell me about this song, man. I watched it earlier. I just had
Yeah,
a nice little smile watching it,
bigger
man.
truth. The bigger truth. And what my song is a message. It's a powerful message. The last verse says, doing something for someone else, that's where it's at. Giving back. And the song come about by a coaching program. When I was launching my business, motivational speaking and life coaching, I hired a coach to teach me on the business aspects of it. And he was a rapper, spoken guy, word guy. And he said to me, you bought the elite package, you get an extra bonus. I'm going to write a song with you. I'm going to send you some beats. You pick a beat. We're going to sit and have 4 writing sessions. We'll write a song. I have a studio with my buddy owns. We'll record it in the studio and we'll actually shoot a little video, music video if you want. I'm like, wow, really? So yeah, it's all included. At the end of this 12-month course, we sat down 4 sessions of writing and we wrote my life story in this song, Bigger Truth. And bigger truth is what I found out was all the money, all the fame, all the glory, all that stuff. It really ain't where it's at. Helping someone else, doing something for someone else. That's where it's at. That's the best feeling I get when I can help and give back to someone or uplift someone or do something kind for someone. There's no better feeling than that to me. It was never about, I never liked getting gifts. I still don't. I love giving. I had to learn to receive because that's part of the equation. If you don't receive, you're denying someone else. So don't forget to receive, but giving is the best form of joy. Tony Robbins, my mentor, said the 2 ways of being that you're going to be happy is through progress or contribution. When you're giving back, when you're contributing to others or society or doing something. I love to clean up the beaches. I love the ocean. I want to give back there. But I want to help young people too. I want to help any people I can.
That's pretty awesome, man. I mean, at 15, 16, 17 years old, you went on the road. Are you ready to go on the road with this song that you got coming
I
out?
was. The funny thing, I look back now and you couldn't see youths at 15 years old in this day and age going out on their own. 1% might be. And here I was at 15 and a half. Mom said, okay, I'm going to trust you. You send your check home every week. I'll pay your bills and you'll get so much to spend. And if you mess up, you got to get back home. So I had to go to school during the day and I was racing at night. That's how the only way she let me leave, because I committed to getting my diploma for her if she let me leave home. And I grew up very strict, so I wasn't about to mess that up. And then I was so successful, I wanted to be more successful, so I wasn't about to mess that up. Here I am, leading rider. I'm winning 6-8 races a week. And I'm going to school in the day and I'm racing at night and on the weekends on the day. So I had the life of I was living a dream life. No kid in America was happier and more excited every day than I was. I had it by the tail. Oh. And I ended up champion jock the first season at Delta Downs, 1979. Ronnie Ebanks, leading rider.
And where are you at right now? You California, right?
I'm in Marina Del Rey, California. I moved out here about 19 years ago to come to take Antley. That didn't work for the summer, Chris Antley, and I went back home to Sellers. And after 3 more years, I came back and took Patrick Valenzuela and had him about 1.5 years. And I went back again I was in Miami, I had a home in Miami. And then Joe Talamo, somebody came to me, wanted me to take him. So I went to New Orleans, met him, and took him to California. And when I took him, I stayed.
Oh, wow, man, that's a really awesome story, and I know that you've evolved, as they say. You moved away from the races. Do you still stay on top of races and watch the races?
I don't watch them at all during the week. I go to the Kentucky Derby just about every year. I just came back from the Breeders' Cup. I have a lot of friends in racing still and clients, so I love going and seeing, but I'm only a big event guy now. I go for the Derbies, the Breeders' Cups. Maybe an odd day, I'll go to the morning. Once or twice a year, I'll go to Santa Anita, maybe in the morning, or Del Mar. But I'm really, really busy. I've got so much going on. I got a really full life. I have another business. I have a UPS franchise that I bought. My ex-wife runs in New Orleans. And I have the life coaching. I play poker professionally, semi-professionally. But this business, SaveZorb, is really getting all of my attention right now. So I don't have too much time for much else at the moment. But I love going. I love seeing all my friends. But it's just, I evolved to, I didn't want to be that guy anymore that wasn't honest, wasn't to his word. And being a jockey agent, If you're to your word and honest, you're going to miss so many opportunities of winners. That's not the best agent. The guy's got to be a little shady, a little slippery. And I didn't like being that guy. I wanted to be an honorable guy honorable with my word and integrity. And that's a big part of why I stepped away. That, and I was tired of being looked down on, in a sense. No matter how well you did, who you were, as an agent, had a handout every day trying to give me a mount, give me a mount, give me a mount. So that kind of, the way that the industry looks down on you still and will kind of treat you somewhat, the ego guys, the big guys will still take their advantage and treat you that way. And you can't say anything. You got to bite your lip. And I got tired of doing that. So I wanted to work for myself and make my own schedule every day. And I didn't quit racing. I just got freedom in life, because racing, generally, no one retires from racing. 95% of them die in racing. They don't retire. That's I heard a long time ago, and I knew I was not going to be one of them guys, because I have so much more passion for so many other things and more desires and the things I want to do, especially with business. So 10 years ago, I started investing outside that UPS store, Save Zorb at the same time, and so I have a lot more that I want to do than racing.
Ronnie, I want to thank you for your time. But before you go, I want you to talk a little bit about this savesorb.com again, because I think it's very fascinating. I'm really curious about it myself right now. So just speak a minute or two
what
and
I
tell
would
me,
say,
tell me about it.
Anyone watching, go to that website and watch some of the videos. And this is needed everywhere in the world, not in California, the global community needs to learn what this product is, to use it anytime they have something to clean up. And this actually cleans up blood, urine, feces. We use it for the stalls for the horses, but that's another story. It's made to clean up hydrocarbons. These fibers love hydrocarbons. It sucks it inside, it closes it up, and it eats it. So anywhere they're spilling, they use this, and they can put it in the earth after. And they use such a little bit. It's a plant. Nature gave us a plant that's a miracle that will eat the oil in our mess that we leave and enable to put it in the ground after. What they're doing now is the toxic stuff. The clay, it doesn't absorb. It wraps around the little pebbles and it drips off or comes off. They got to incinerate that. It's got silica dust in it. The number one product in the world has silica dust, causes cancer if you breathe that dust. This product is a natural plant material that is, I call it, cleaning up one spill, helping save the earth one spill at a time. It needs to be in every oil spill. If they threw this on the oil and the water, it would absorb the oil, then it might float for a while, then it would sink, but it would never bother the environment or the water, the fish, or anything, because it's encapsulated and being eaten away. It never comes back out. The science is there behind it. It's an amazing, amazing miracle of a plant material that is needed. Anybody at home, any kind of food oil, vomit, everybody should have a bag of this in their garage, or the car leaking, and we make mats and spill kits for these big, we have Costco is one of our big companies, FedEx, we have some huge companies. Shell Oil uses to clean out sludge at the bottom of tanks. It's a product that needs exposure. If anybody can think of someone that has a business or a company that they can share it with, most companies have some type of spill. They have vehicles, they have spills, they have leaks. This is the best product in the world, no doubt. We have a distributor in Guam that sells it to the Navy. We have a distributor in Chile that distributes it to the municipalities there. So, yeah, the city of LA is my biggest customer. The fleet departments all over the city of LA is now using it in Santa Monica. So Santa Monica is the greenest city in the U.S. They use it in every division for all of their spill cleanup. This product needs to get out to the world, and it's my mission. It's a tough job. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It's not for the faint heart, but it ain't over till I win.
That's right.
Save Zorb to the world. Yeah, really.
Savesorb.com. Check it out, people. That's the way to go. Check it out first, and if you, I'm pretty sure you'll like it.
When you watch them videos, you'll be impressed. There's nothing like it.
Hey, look, man. I want to say thank you for joining us. It's been quite a really educational time for me, actually, just to learn a little bit about you and learn a little bit about where you came from and how you got to where you are right now. I want to wish you success, obviously going forward, and also with the SaveOr.com, the book, the song. Maybe perhaps we'll see you at the Kentucky Derby performing that song, man.
Yeah, one of these days, that's my next move, right?
That would be pretty
It's a
awesome.
novelty thing. It's really fun to have. But yeah, my mission is Save Czar, but I'm going to be around the racing, Derby, Breeders' Cup. But anyone need to reach out to me, you can find me at ronnie@savezorb.com is my email for my company. They can reach me there. Any questions or someone wants some advice, I'm glad to offer anything I can to support and help other people. And I thank
Pretty
you for
cool.
having me on. I really enjoyed it. Good talking with you, and look forward to catching up again.
Hey, man, it's been a pleasure. Come back anytime, man. Let's do this again.
Let's do it.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
man. All right, peace out, man. Appreciate it. All right. I'm just gonna kick you out the studio.
Perfect.
All right. So Ronnie Ebanks, quite a guy. I want to say, look, man, that's a fascinating story, fascinating journey, and look forward to many more of these kind of guests and stories from around the world. These are guys that will inspire you to do better, to look at things differently. We all need some help here and there. Don't forget to check him out at Ronnie at savesorb.com. And I'm pretty sure you can find him on social media. Just type in Ronnie Ebanks and he'll pop right up. He has an amazing book out there and also a song. Check it out. Check it out on the Facebook group and also on YouTube. Uh, Ronnie Ebanks, man, what a guy! Quite amazing. I look forward to hearing more about his journey in terms of where he takes that company. And I'm really curious about that company and what it does. The product seems amazing. So on top of that note, you know what? I got to bounce because enough is enough. I'll probably do this again sometime soon. But for now, I'm out.